Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tiffany. If you're new here, I'm an expat living in Greece, and I am going to do an update on the cost of living here in Athens. I did one of these about, I think 2 years ago now, and I've done a little bit of sort of collecting all my bills and doing some comparisons. But first I'm going to go to the supermarket today to do a grocery shop. Actually a fairly large shop, at least for me. And I'm gonna try to go back and look at the video I made before and compare the prices. Now, one thing I want to sort of point out is that I'm a single person. I am not buying for a family, so this is just for one person. And I tend to eat out a lot, and not eat out necessarily, but I do order food a lot because I don't really love cooking for one person. So what I buy is probably a lot less than some people, but hopefully this will give you an idea of some of the basics and the costs associated with buying food and then buying things like paper towels and toilet paper, toothpaste, things that we all need. So I hope this is helpful. If you like this and want to see more videos about living in Greece, traveling in Greece, make sure you hit that subscribe button. This is everything I bought. They did not have the toothpaste I wanted, so I didn't buy that today. So I will try to go and make a comparison of that. Although I don't know if I have that in my video from before, but I think I've bought some similar things from the video from a couple of years ago. So let's quickly run over the cost of these things. The toilet paper, which is a 10-pack of toilet paper, was €5.38. I feel like that it's definitely more than it was last year. Then I have the feta cheese, which is €5.01, although this year is a little bit different for me. I have a frequent shopper card at the supermarket that I'm going to in my neighborhood. The supermarket I'm going to is Alphavita. If you're here and you're just coming to visit, it's the grocery store that has the big A and the B. But obviously in Greek, it's Alphavita, so that gave me 56 cents off of the feta cheese. I'm not sure what this next thing is because my Greek is still not great enough. It's €6.78. It's the chicken. It's the chicken breasts, and this is the Alphavita brand chicken, which is a little bit cheaper than last year because last year, well, not last year, but the last time I made this video, I didn't live near an Alphavita, and the supermarkets that I shopped did not have their own brand of chicken. So the chicken is €6.78. The refill for the hand wash in my bathroom is €2.39. And then there is this salad mix, which is €1.67, which I think is a really good deal because that's usually like 3 salads for me. Then there's coffee, which is €9.32. And you may be thinking, holy guacamole, but really, in the grand scheme of things, making your coffee at home is not that expensive. Now, I had been recently, until this day, been buying a Greek brand, and I don't know the name of it. No, I do. It's called Jacob's, and it's pretty good. But it was like 60 cents more than this, and I haven't had this in a really long time because it is a little bit pricey, but for some reason this I think was on sale today. Let's see, the yogurt, which is the Fai yogurt 5%, was €4.27. That's actually really good. I think last time I did this I paid over €5. And then the bread, which was €2.54. And with my frequent shopper card, I got 25 cents off. And then the last thing is the whole wheat spaghetti, and it is €1.43, but then I got 29 cents off. So in total for all of this, I spent €40.36. Actually, no, I forgot. There's this balsamic vinegar. The balsamic vinegar was €2.66, and I used that on my salad. So again, in total, 40 euros and 36 cents. This week at the Laiki, I spent 10 euros and 90 cents. This is from the week of June 17th. So I'm sort of filming this over a period of time so that you guys can see kind of cost of living. And I'll just briefly tell you, I don't know exactly how much everything was because I bought all of the fruit in the same thing. So I bought the strawberries, the tomatoes, the bananas, and in that bag are vegan cherries. All of that was 9 euros and 40 cents. And then the eggs, which are 10 eggs, were 1 euro and 70 cents, and the flowers were 1.50. So I actually did the math wrong in my other video. I'll put the total up here on the screen. So I don't think I could have bought all of that fruit in the supermarket for 9 euros and 40 cents. Because the last time I looked at strawberries, they were running about 4 euros alone in the supermarket. And actually, I've never seen Bing cherries here in the supermarket. So I can't even get those cherries in the supermarket. And eggs are usually about double this price, almost double the price. So anywhere from 2.30 to 2.70, and you only get 6 eggs. So if you're coming to Greece to move here, it is best to see, especially if you're in Athens, if you can buy things at the street market. On the islands, the street market is not as common. I've only seen it in a few places, and it's not big and beautiful like the ones in Athens are. In the video I recorded a little while ago about what I bought at the supermarket, I didn't buy butter because I haven't been buying it that often. Now, when I made this video 2 years ago, I was buying butter more often, and the price of butter is the first thing that I have really noticed that has skyrocketed. This tiny thing of butter was 4 euros and 15 cents. This butter, I'm trying to find how much, is 225 grams. Like, this is not a very big thing of butter. I want to say that the price 2 years ago was like 3 euros and 40 or 50 cents. I'm gonna check and see if I can't find, if I talk about it in that video. I think I do. That's crazy to me. Before I move on to talking about some of the other costs of living here in Greece, I'm going to briefly run down the 2020 grocery prices. I went back and watched my video. Unfortunately, I don't have the raw footage anymore. I had a catastrophe back in December with my external hard drive, and it's lost to time. So I'm gonna read to you what I spent, and then on the screen, I'm gonna put up the 2022 prices that I talked about briefly so you can see the comparison of the things that I know were in both. So butter in 2020 was 3 euros and 80 cents. Bread was 1 euro and 88 cents. Bananas were 1 euro and 15 cents. I think that was for 4 of them. The big thing of yogurt was 3.88. And the chicken, now the chicken is going to be a big discrepancy because the chicken that I bought before was not a store brand, it was a name brand here. So the chicken was, I bought it twice and it was 9 euros and 54 cents or 8 euros and 50 cents. I think for the store brand, this last video was around 6-ish, 7 euros, somewhere in there. Now the strawberries I bought in the video from 2020 were from the street market. They were 3 euros and 50 cents, and it was mid-May, so they're more expensive then. So that's about on par actually for what it was. I think it was 4 euros for strawberries in May. So that should be a little bit helpful. And toilet paper was 4 euros and 26 cents. Although it was not a store brand, it was a name brand, and I think the package was of 8. I looked back at the cost of what I've spent on food to have like food delivered, and it is very similar. Prices for food delivery haven't gone up that much. The one thing that has changed is that now Greece requires to, because of this EU ban on single-use plastics, if they use a single-use plastic in the delivery, they have to charge a small fee. Usually it's like 5 to 10 cents, so it's not a large amount. In several videos recently, people have asked me about the increase in cost of petrol / gas, whatever you call it. However, I don't drive, so I don't often know, but I'm walking past a gas station today, and and for unleaded, it's €2.32 a liter. Now keep in mind that's a liter, not a US gallon. There's another gas station over here, same price. And this is pretty central, like Athens, so I would imagine that it's a little bit higher than it would be on the outskirts. However, I think it's much higher on the islands. Now I know some people are asking because they're wanting to come on their summer holidays, but I thought I should include it in this video in case you move here and you're wanting to know what the cost of gasoline is and you're gonna own a car while you're here. Okay, so you just saw me talk about gasoline, and I will say, when I went to an island in April, I did rent a car and I got 13 liters of gas and it was 30 euros. So do the math. I'll put it here on the screen about how much it is. So I think, I mean, as we know, gas is more expensive everywhere. It's not just here in Greece. Now let's talk about bills and rent, because these are going to be the things that you spend probably the most money on here in Greece. As far as rent, in my old apartment, I paid 500 euros. I lived in the basement. I did not have any outside space. It was about 50 square meters. And I lived in, like I said, the most expensive neighborhood, not the most expensive, but one of the most expensive neighborhoods. So it was very expensive for a basement apartment at the time. Now, not so much. I now live on what the Europeans would call a third floor. If you're American, you would say it was the fourth floor. I pay 460 euros a month in rent, and this apartment is officially 47 square meters. I think it's 50, so it's very similar in size to my old apartment. The other thing is I live in a neighborhood that is not as expensive as that other neighborhood, but is more expensive because it's within walking distance, like 15, 20 minutes to the Acropolis. And so it's very popular on Airbnb. Now I live at the non-touristy end of that neighborhood, but it's still, the prices over here have gone up and up. The other thing, the difference between the apartments is that this apartment is unfurnished. Okay, what about bills? Because obviously if you're living in an apartment, you need electricity and water and internet. There's also another bill here in Greece called a konoskistra. I'm definitely butchering that, but it's the shared fees for the building. So obviously not just your apartment needs electricity, the building needs electricity, there is an elevator, and once or twice a week someone comes and cleans the building, and they do general maintenance, like they change light bulbs and they make sure that our gas bill gets paid on time. And they give us the bills for that. So in my old apartment, that bill was included in my rent. They did not charge me extra. And it varies. You can't really say like this is the average in Athens, because it depends on how many apartments are in your building. It depends on what floor you're on. So like in my old building, my apartment didn't pay for elevator usage because I didn't have elevator access down to my apartment. So I didn't have to pay for maintenance and usage, like electricity usage of the elevator. I obviously do in this apartment. So I'm going to show you what that bill looks like. I have the last several months of that, actually since I moved in here. This is what they look like. Now, yours might look slightly different because they're all run by different companies, so they all have a different color scheme, but they pretty much all look like this. And in our building, we have gas heating, not oil, and it is turned on for only 3 hours a day, and it was pretty much only on from like January till the end of March because it's so expensive right now. In February, at the end of February, the bill for the shared fees was 50 euros and 39 cents. The most expensive part of that bill was the heating, and that was 39 euros and 10 cents. Okay, in March, it was 31 euros and 66 cents. We used a lot less heating. I'm not really sure why, because I felt like the heating was on just as much, but maybe there were a few days where it wasn't that cold, so it didn't come on. So I guess it's set on some sort of like a timer system, like if it reaches a certain temperature during the day, I don't think it comes on. And then something weird happened in April even though we had heating, we apparently didn't pay for the heating in April. Like the bill didn't come in time for this bill to come. So the shared fees were only 10 euros and 49 cents. Of course, we've made up for that in May because we got charged for the April heating. And this is the biggest one that I've gotten. My part of this bill was 45 euros and 84 cents, but the total bill was 66.24. And that's because there are some fees in the building that only owners of apartments pay for. There was some sort of maintenance to something, it's in Greek, I don't know. So I then let my landlord know and then he pays that. The other bill, one of the other bills that I know a lot of people ask me about is how much is internet? So in my old apartment, the internet was 25 euros a month, but I don't know anything about the plan because it was in my landlord's name and I never saw the bill. I just paid them because 25 euros seemed pretty acceptable. That does cover a phone line, like a landline, because internet here still requires a landline, and basic like TV access, like the air channels. Here, my internet is 37 euros. I have fiber in this neighborhood though, and because of my work is so much online, and now my newer job is so image download and upload heavy, that I paid for the most expensive package they had because it had the most megabytes per second, which was 100, and it's fiber and it's 37 euros. Also includes a landline. I don't have that phone hooked up because I don't want it to ring. And then it also includes that basic TV package. Now I'm gonna talk about the water bill. I got a water bill not long after I moved in, so it was for the previous tenants and then like a couple of days of my usage. But some of that, there was no one living here, and it was 10 euros. So it covered from like November, the end of November through almost the end of February. So usually the water bills are like, they cover 2 or 3 months. So water is really cheap. And yes, I paid this bill because the landlord covered the electricity for the first like week that I was in the apartment. So I figured I could pay the water bill. So the water bill that I got for my time, so from February 22nd through May 20th, I paid 13 euros. The big one, the big bill besides rent is electricity. Electricity here is complicated because unlike in the US, you don't get an electric bill every month. Well, you get an electric bill every month, but it's not an actual reading of your meter. They don't come every month and read your meter. They come every 3 to 4 months to read your meter. You can read it yourself if you want to. So what they do is estimate your usage based on what you used the year before, which of course means for me in this new apartment, it's sort of messed up. So I'm gonna get on my computer now and show you what I've paid or what I haven't paid because it's a little tricky and confusing. And then I'm gonna come back and tell you what I have heard of other people currently experiencing and what the Greek government is doing to sort of mitigate the rising cost of the electricity. Here are the 4 bills that I have gotten. You're gonna see this on account and clearing, and that means the on account is an estimation and the clearing bill is from an actual meter reading. And you can see there's some vast differences here. The first bill is actually 73.15. I had a 50 euro credit with the company for signing up. Then the next bill, 63.63, which I thought these were both pretty normal, about what I was paying in the other building. Then I got this and I had this weird credit of 72.56. And that's because I think they overestimated these 2 bills. And there's also something I discovered, which I'm going to show you in a minute. There's some sort of government subsidy program that they are enrolled me in somehow. So there's also credit for that. And that explains this. So they didn't come and read the meter. This is based on an estimation. I think this is way too low. I think that this is going to be much higher than this when the actual bill comes in, which I know they read the meter on May 12th here. So I estimate June, July. They might come in August, but they might not come till September, which means that my September bill for my electricity could be several hundred euros. And that's where some people get bent out of shape from here, is they get this large bill because it's been 4 or 5 months and they suddenly have to pay it. So there are a couple of options you can do. One, you can read your meter yourself. You can sign up to do that. You can call in, or this company, I can actually go online and put in my meter reading if I want to. So that way you have a better idea of how much you're paying. Or what I may do is just go on and make payments. Like I may just go pay 100 euros every month. So that way I know that I'm not going to get this huge bill come whenever the clearing bill actually comes. Now, I want to show you this bill, but I'm going to make sure my personal information isn't shown. So I will do that in just a second. So this is my most recent bill. I do get my bill in English, like a summary to my email. And then if I go on, as you saw, I can see it somewhat in English, but the breakdown is not. It's only in Greek. So I need to either learn more Greek or get into Translate. I tried to put this into Google Translate and it said it was a PDF scan and it couldn't do it. So anyway, but what this basically says, I think, is that this is a government subsidy. So what I actually used was quite a bit more. Well, what they're estimating that I've used is quite a bit more because it says it's 55.62. So I think that it would actually be about 95 euros, which seems a lot more accurate to me. Now, what I want to see if I can show you without showing my address is how much per kilowatt hour. Now, it shows that I use 212 kilowatt hours. Now, I want to talk a little bit more, really briefly, about the electricity bills, because I've been seeing some people's bills that are just astronomical, anywhere from 600 to 1,200 euros. But again, I have a couple of things that I think I've done right that may be, useful for you if you're coming here. One is to really research the current prices of various different electric companies in terms of the kilowatt hour to find out what's going to work for you. I also did the fixed rate electricity, and yes, that means it's higher in the beginning, but I was like, I would rather kind of know how much I'm paying rather than sometimes getting this huge bill. Now, some people signed contracts that had an adjustment clause in it, and I don't fully understand that, what that means exactly, so please don't ask me to explain it. There might be somebody who's watching this who can explain it a little bit better than me, but basically it means like we can charge you an extra fee on top of everything else because we've had to pay more for the supply of electricity. So a lot of people's actual electric bills aren't that high, but they've had, plus you have the taxes. But then you also have this huge adjustment clause. And the thing is because most people don't read their meters, they're getting a bill for 3 or 4 months that normally would have been maybe 100 to 200 euros, and they're getting it all at once. Which of course, if you're not making a lot of money, is a huge shock to suddenly get this huge electric bill. Now, I do know that if you call the electric company, a lot of them will let you set up a payment plan. So that way you're not having to pay this huge amount all at once. But I kind of feel like you would be better served to either one, read your meter in advance, see if you can get on a different contract. And then the other thing is that the Greek government is trying to help with that adjustment clause. Now they've come and said, I think it was starting in June, that there was a cap and that if you had paid this huge bill, there was a platform you could go on and apply to get some of that money rebated to you. And it also varies, it obviously varies a lot on your own personal usage, but also varies a lot on the size of your apartment. I'm single. Yes, I run my air conditioners a lot, but I only heat up my hot water once a day. Multiple people aren't having to take a shower in my apartment. I don't run air conditioners in both rooms if I'm not in them. I only use it in the room that I'm in. I don't do a lot of cooking, so that probably helps me keep my electric bill down. And I do turn off everything when I leave. Like lights get turned off. If I'm leaving to go on a trip, things get unplugged, everything. The air conditioners the only thing that doesn't get unplugged is the refrigerator. But even in my old apartment, I would unplug the TV, all the electrical, just because it's not going to save me a huge amount of money, but every little bit helps when the costs are so high. But also like safety, like they don't need to be plugged in. So why risk the fire hazard if, something accidentally happens? Not that I think anything would, but why take the chance? I think that's all. Last year, 2 years ago when I did this video, I did it over 2 videos. I talked a lot more about rents and the cost of rents in different neighborhoods, but it has changed so dramatically that I'm not going to do that in this video. I suggest that if you need to see what rents are going to be like in a particular area of Athens, that you go on to one of 2 websites that have real estate listings. I'm going to put both of those below. I can't guarantee you that it's a representative example because you might be able to come here in person and find a better deal. But it does give you a starting point to kind of see, okay, I think I want to live in this neighborhood. How much is a 1-bedroom going to be? How much is it going to be if it's furnished? And there are some furnished apartment listings that are not on those that are more short-term, and those are definitely more expensive. It doesn't mean that if you can afford it, you shouldn't do it. It just means that you could possibly find something cheaper on your own. But if you're only coming for a couple of months and you just can't deal with the hassle, then it's a good place to go. I will put a link to one of those down below as well, in case you're coming here for like 2 or 3 months and you don't mind paying the double the market rate. If you have any questions about cost of living, cost of rents, if you want to get an update on what my electric bill was come in September and you remember, or if you're watching this in September, come on and ask me and I will come back and answer you. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.